Welcome to Custom Creator. I am a wrench, and that is my partner over there, the mask.
I'm a killer, and so is this song we're about to react to.
Daily OGT here. OGO Greg. I mean,
Close enough.
yeah. Yeah. So, as Zeppelin fans, I know you guys don't hate Tool because they showed love to no quarter. So, it's actually original Gangster Tool fan. But I say it's like old guy twerking or old guy talking or one good time or only giant boobies with a T. And uh, he was G.L. Schmidt, so OGL made sense. All right, so we have returned to Zeppelin. I like this backdrop because we just made it as our we did a live stream and I carefully put all these names together. It was pretty cool. And of course, Zeppelin's there at the top. So with the iconic, I guess you'd call that ascending angel. I had that T-shirt for a while, but it got lost. Like my mind. So this is Greg here was a giant '80s fan, and Iron Maiden was a big part of the '80s, and Bruce Dickinson's one of his favorite singers, and so I guess what I'm trying to say is he has ran to the hills, but he didn't know that a long time before that they went over the hills and far away. So this is a 1973 performance at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
So
See, what happened is they had to
iconic.
go over the hills and far away, but then they had to run back to the hills for some reason. So,
Man, you know they didn't want to be in New York. I mean, just pay good. That's all it is to it. I think one of the reasons this concert is so iconic is I know it's Madison Square Garden, so don't crucify me, guys. But I know the movie. I think it is Over the Hills and Far Away is the name of the movie.
keep talking, I'll find out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Um, or the song remains the same, or
I thought it would
well,
be
I
the
can't
song
remember
remains the
now.
same, but I have
I've
to find
seen the
out.
movie several times.
The song remains the same as the movie.
Yeah, yeah, okay. It hit me right there at the end. So, but anyway, that's where that movie, after the gangsters shoot up everybody, and it's the weird part, and Robert's on the creek with his baby, and maybe it was Joni Mitchell, I don't know, but they have literally have castles and wild horses and all that. So, I think Keith Richards was probably jealous of the wild horses. But yeah, we'll stop being silly. I love Led Zeppelin, man. It's one of the. I grew up on Zeppelin, Skinner and Floyd, and Hank Williams Jr. So, not as crazy as combination, not as crazy of a combination as it may seem.
And
And
both
then I
as a
found
band,
Tool.
both as a band and their individual musicians themselves, Zeppelin's influence, they inspired so many musicians, so many bands. It's
They inspired Tool. I mean, Danny Carey is the octopus drummer, but he would not be that drummer without John Bonham.
yeah,
So
and just about every hard rock or heavy metal frontman is in some way or another aspiring to be Robert Plant. So
yeah, we do a lot of Australian reactions, and they love John Farnham over there, and so do we. But he didn't try to take credit for it. He sang Black Dog as a warm-up song. He always has, because, of course, like you said, all singers start with plant. And I guess plant that seed, but like Robert did in every town he's ever been
every
in.
in every
But
conceivable way, yes, sir.
yeah, so but that they definitely planted the seeds of what I call hard rock. And I guess Sabbath would have been metal.
Yeah, but again, you
So
can hear Zeppelin
Skinner would have been
influences.
rock.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can hear influences from Zeppelin in all genres. Just that there's
Man,
there's black metal where it's like, oh, that's a Zeppelin style breakdown in the middle there. That's yeah. So yeah, they're definitely one of those bands that transcend genre. They're Zeppelin. They're definitely on the Mount Rushmore of rock, no doubt.
Yeah, and the intro to this song. I don't know how many minutes we've been on here and talking. 5 minutes, okay. The intro to the song is incredibly hard to play, and it sounds like one little like, but it is super hard to play. I've seen people play it. Don't get me wrong, but I have tried. I can barely do the dun 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 because it hits in power chords so quickly. It's I can't make it sound good. So, but I've tried. I have played a little Zeppelin in my life, and that's close enough to perfect for me. So, to quote an Alabama song from the country, but anyway, all right. So music doesn't have genre on this channel. Try not to anyway. So let's get into this iconic concert. We're gonna add it. I'm gonna change this around just a little bit. All right. I'm gonna turn my mic off, and we're gonna go
Turn my mic
over
off.
over the hills and far away.
This is a track about, I suppose it's about you and me and everybody. You've probably written one just the same. Over the hills and far, far away. Hey lady, you got the love I need. Maybe more than enough. Oh, darling, 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 walk a while with me. Oh, you got so much. I really need so much. I have to have so much.
All right, not trying to stop it already, but I wanted to let you guys know, and gals, and whoever's watching, that I have not seen this concert. I have seen that movie. So if this is the concert, I guess I have. But I realized I didn't tell anyone that he's never heard this song. So this is brand new for him. So I wanted to let everybody know that. And what do you think about the opening riff?
So the opening riff, it's beautiful. It's one of those things where Page makes it look so easy, but just the sound of it, you're like, man, I bet that's really hard to play. Just a lot of just sort of fast notes going in there, but he just makes it. It's almost effortless. Also appreciate the fact that haven't seen the other guys in the band closely yet, but between Jimmy and Robert, not a button to be found on those shirts. I'm sure that that jacket fit Robert just fine when he was in the 8th grade, but it's a bit small now. But man can pull it off. Also very jealous of his head of hair. But yeah, I mean, these Led Zeppelin is almost like your prototypical rock band. Like it's Page is a gift with a guitar. and just his presence, that iconic image of him with the Les Paul, and Plant just as the, front man. He's got the look, he's got the vocal range, has the charisma. Zeppelin was this is what most rock bands or all rock bands aspire to be. And I just appreciate the fact they started off with that sort of acoustic folksy sound, then the heavy guitars came in, and even Jimmy Page's Chugga Chugga, it's not like a straight chug. He's doing it on like a weird kind of off meter that it's easy to follow, but it's just like a bit, it keeps you on your toes. It doesn't flow as, it's not quite as steady or as monotonous as some chugging can get. So Jimmy Page is a master of, as far as, crafting textures with his guitar, being acoustic and electric. And the entire band are just masters of filling out the sound. Zeppelin has a gigantic wall of sound. That was, and it's easy to see why. Number one, they made an impression on so many people, and I think shows like this are the reason why Madison Square Garden has become such an iconic venue. It's because it's had of legendary concerts like this.
Agreed. We'll get back to it. We talk a lot, but we love Zeppelin, and I will comment on the one thing you didn't, and is John Bonham. John Bonham is amazing when he comes in with those drums, and he is, he's the best. I like to say Danny Carey's the GOAT, and I don't like to compare those two. So I think they're better than Neil Peart. I think Neil Peart's a close third, okay? And there's some great drummers. What is the drummer for Sabbath, the Into the Void and all that? He's a great drummer too. So
Bill Ward, I think. Drummers. Bill Ward.
Yeah, so there are a lot of great drummers, but yeah, let's get back to it, and I will back it up a little. This is beautiful. I love when and Jimmy Page is ad-libbing a little there, so that there's a little extra, accents thrown in here and there to that opening riff, but I love it.
Hey lady, you got the love I need. Maybe more than enough. Oh, darling, 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 walk a while with me. Oh, you got so much, I really need so much. I have to have so much.
I've got to stop it, y'all. I didn't want to. I did not want what the hell. God almighty. Yo, it's so good. Oh, I don't remember seeing this. Oh, man. Ooh, let me catch my breath. Oh, wow.
I wouldn't call myself an authority on Led Zeppelin, but I do know that they were known for, like you mentioned before, a bit of ad-libbing in concert. Like if you saw Zeppelin live, you weren't just getting a recital of what you heard on record. So Danny and I watched something about John Bonham where the individual doing the video brought up the fact that he would sort of lock in with the guitarist, which whereas most drummers would sync up with the bassist, John Bonham would lock up with Jimmy Page, and you could hear that, especially like in that chugga chugga bit, but even during Page's solo, you could hear Bonham's drum patterns following that. That is something that I think is also done by Tool, where Danny Carey and Adam Jones tend to sync up a bit, and the bass wanders a bit more. Here, John Paul Jones is still more in the pocket, in the groove, but I think that's one of the reasons why Bonham's grooves sound so monstrous. Not only is he just a beast of a drummer, but the way he's able sort of to lock in and enhance Jimmy Page's riffs and his guitar grooves is just a part of that unique Zeppelin sound. Bonham was one of a kind, no doubt. Also appreciate his epic mustache. That's top notch as well. Jimmy Page also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Bandanas, I was going to say, but that classic
bandana was pretty sweet, yeah. But Jimmy Page also, like a lot of guitar players, like the want to play their solo as clean as possible, and sometimes they tend to. It's a solo, so it goes off on its own little bit. Whereas Jimmy Page, like his solo is creating a groove, and he's not afraid to have a noisy, rickety sound. Like that Les Paul's got a giant sound to it, and he is not afraid to make that guitar sound dangerous. Which is, I think, another.
A lot of people have called him sloppy, and I guess that's just the haters.
Eddie Van Halen
at the very end of the career, he might have got a little sloppy, but my God, come on, give the man a break.
I think Eddie Van Halen mentioned he's never seen Jimmy Page play live, but he was a great producer. And apparently he didn't see this because Page is absolutely killing it. So I think Page was just good at creating almost that feeling of anarchy within his sound. That to me, it doesn't sound sloppy. It just has that element of danger to it because everything else around, I think maybe because everything else around it is so tight, maybe that's why it sounds a bit sloppy to some people. But to me, it all syncs up in some strange, almost mystical way.
Well, let me tell Freddie Van Salen or whatever the hell his name is that you're nothing like Jimmy Page, buddy. You never will be. So you can try your hardest. No disrespect to the band, but if Eddie Van Halen's going to say that, then he's wrong. And I don't say that a lot. I'm trying to be very objective, but he's wrong. So, guess we won't be doing any Van Halen reactions. I appreciate the guitar solo and Beat It. I love that. That's good. I really
good players in
did
their own
think
right.
he was very overrated. I always thought he was overrated. He played a different type of guitar. I will say that.
Yeah, he did sort of revitalize the rock guitar scene at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's changed so much since then. I also did want to say that it's interesting how the vocal melody in this has a bit of like longing to it. And when you juxtapose that against this monstrous groove that the band is churning up, it's a very interesting combination. And of course,
I was hollering the whole time. It kept saying, "Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted." Like thought I was trying to talk. I guess I just couldn't help it. All right, so yeah, we'll talk after. I'm gonna back it up a good bit because I mean that's come on, not.
Hell yeah.
We'll probably let it finish out. If I'll mute my mic first.
Dreams come true, and somehow silver lining. I live for my dream, out of pocket full of gold. Some Acapulco gold every time.
that face. You're the man, Robert. You know it.
Yeah, I was saying he knows it too.
I made this across the bottom for several reactions, but Zeppelin inspired that last little line there. So to be a rock and not to roll.
Not to
baby.
roll. There we go.
Man, I mean,
Yeah, when they came back to that opening riff at the end there, that really drew the thing to a close. And it felt like a journey. Felt like we'd been over the hills and far away. But I didn't even mention John Paul Jones' bass line there was absolutely pulsing. Like that was a big part of the groove as well. Yeah, and the interesting thing, what I've discovered since I've been seeing some of Zeppelin and seeing Robert Plant, was you'll remember him being known as this guy who had this crazy range, and obviously he does. But what he's got is really hard to put your finger on. Like I think even if like there's people that have a similar range of Robert Plant, but can't come close to equaling what he does. That's an intangible. That's definitely sort of the essence of an artist. There is that you really can't define what makes him special. It's just he's special because he's Robert Plant. He does stuff because he can, and because like only he can think of doing it that way. Just so much personality in the guy, so much charisma, and so much capability.
I'm going to be very honest here. That's something that Tool doesn't have. Maynard is a very classical singer and sings very precisely and can bring emotion, but he's no Robert Plant. Robert Plant has the vocal freedom to do things that just and the just orgasmic sounds that sets him apart from any vocalist I've ever heard.
Yeah, like he does stuff that anyone else would sound silly doing, but he literally he makes it work perfectly.
I did say, and I'll stand by that John Farnham sang I thought better than Robert Plant in that particular Black Dog session.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just talking about the studio version. I'm not saying Robert couldn't have tried and done better. I'm sure he probably could have. He sang it the way he wanted to sing it. So I think John just has played that song a lot, and he idolized Robert, and he puts everything into it, and he sang it great. So I'm trying to prove how objective I am, but Robert Plant is the best, in my opinion. He's the best vocalist I've ever heard. And there are different types of vocalists. I say this all the time. I think Lane Staley is the most powerful vocalist I've ever heard by far. By over the hills and far away, Lane Staley had more power than anyone I've ever heard. He's also a big lover of Robert Plant. So, yeah, man, just my point is he's great.
Even in some of the Alice in Chains videos you showed me, like Staley's body language is very Robert Plantish in spots. So yeah, I mean, just like I said, Zeppelin just left such an imprint on the world of music, and it's easy to see why. I said their knack for unusual song structures that they make work every time. Like I said, just Plant's vocal freedom, Jimmy Page's genius with his guitar arrangements, John Paul Jones and John Bonham just able to lay that rock solid foundation down. In addition to the fact that John Paul Jones could play just about anything else that was needed at the time, mandolin, keyboards, whatever.
I do reference these three bands a lot in having no way possible to put them in any specific genre. Pink Floyd, Tool, and Led Zeppelin. I think you cannot put those three bands in a genre. I mean, you can't even try. Because I could show you a song, no matter what genre you say, that's outside that genre, and I don't think there's many bands you could say that about. The Warning is a great new band, and they have taken a lot out of the Led Zeppelin playbook. They have said this, and many playbooks that they're a great new band. These girls are good. So if you haven't heard of The Warning, check them out. I firmly believe they put the work in, and they're very good. So
100%. But yeah, I think an
in
artist seeks
fact,
to be sort of a.
there are a lot of
Go ahead.
lifelong Zeppelin fans that have that say, "Hey, man, I've always loved Zeppelin, still do, but this band is great." So
Yeah. I think an
Yeah,
artist
man,
seeks to be a unique sort of hybrid of their various influences, and yeah, Zeppelin should definitely, if you're Zeppelin should definitely be a part of that mixture, part of that musical alchemy.
there are as many bands that have emulated Zeppelin as there are have sang about Hank Williams Sr. So that's saying a lot. So I imagine Robert Plant probably took some influence from Hank Williams Sr. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Plant has that yodel. That
He does.
Okay, I didn't do it, man, but that Hank was the first one to bring that to the table. So
Yeah.
we are not comparing bands here. I guess I am. I don't know what the right word is. I guess you could call it comparing them, but I'm not trying to disrespect them. Just that there are so many great bands, and it's wonderful to. Well, Hank Williams Jr. said it the best. He said, he's been on the road since he was 8 years old, and he has had the chance to be around so many wonderful artists that he has been able to steal from them all. And he has stole everything he could steal. So that is very honest, because I think a lot of musicians do that, and
Yeah.
the musicians know it, but I think a lot of the fan bases would never admit that. So
Don't remember what the
That's,
saying was. There's no such thing as a completely original artist, just a very talented thief.
there you go, man. There you go. I like that. That sums up music very well. So I mean, at least they don't. At least they're not Roger and David. And plus, all the
Bickering
time over who's
incessantly.
Zip? Which one's Zip?
They never went to court over artistic ownership of a big rubber pig. Yeah.
Yeah, we like laughing at Roger Waters, but he was a very expressive gentleman too. But
Very true. Very true.
didn't have the greatest voice in the world. It was a very weird voice.
Yeah, but again, he made it work. Like, I think Pink Floyd's harmonies were very unique because neither of them had necessarily the technically pure voice, but they both had very distinctive voices.
And maybe Ozzy had the most distinctive voice.
Yeah.
So so there you go. There's so many different.
Yeah. No one will ever say, "Was that Ozzy Osbourne?" Like, oh yeah, that's obviously
Right,
Ozzy.
and neither about Plant or maybe not even Waters. Even though there is a song, "Buy Me a Cigar," that kind of sounds like both of them are singing, and it's not. So check that out.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
a
you
cool
guys
piece
for
of-
sticking with us. This has been a long reaction, but
Well,
Zeppelin's
I'm
worth
trying to
it.
make it 33 minutes, so there you go.
Yeah.
I like that
Zeppelin's
number.
worth it. Yeah.
All right, guys, gals, Zeppelin fans, peace out. Stay dazed and confused,
Oh yeah.
but you won't go crazy. You'll just go sane. Much love, everybody.